Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Oil Runners broadcast. My name is Kristen Olive, and I am your host for today. Today, we are going to talk to director Joshua Brucker. He has got some new movies out. He's got some old movies out, but we're going to find out what's going on. Now, he deals more into the horror films, as I know, but we want to know who he is and what he's about to do. If you want to be on the show, you don't have to be anybody that makes millions or whatever it is. You have a story. Everybody has a story. Money is no thing, but you have a story. And so we would like to hear your story and how you do it, whatever you're doing, and whatever your gift is, we want to share with the world. And you can contact us at oilrunnersservices@gmail.com, or you can go on to Oil Runners Broadcast on Facebook, like, share, comment. YouTube. I know I don't mention much in the I forget to, honestly, in the other broadcast, but YouTube is at Kristen All Love 3574, where you can find the movies. We got TikTok to KristenAll.love. We have Instagram. We'll get to you, okay? So we'll just bring him in here very shortly. All right, so we're welcoming in Joshua Brucker. Is that your name?
Yep, Joshua Brucker.
All right, glad I got it. How are you over there?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. Good.
Good.
So you're from Horror Dads? That's your company?
Yep. So it's actually a group of 6 of us. So it's myself, another director, or other directors, Hunter Nino, Dylan Brown, Michael Rock, Dustin Tamlin, and Matt Van Bodegraven. I believe you're familiar with him.
Yes, we're definitely familiar with Matt. Everybody else we haven't met yet, besides you and him. So how did you guys get started with that?
Well, actually, back in COVID, I was laid off of work, and I decided to take some time off instead of jumping back into trying to find a job and everything like that. My fiance at the time was going to a school, so we've got 4 kids, right? It was much easier for myself to kind of jump in and kind of take care of the kids and focus on the house. But she kind of, was totally cool with that. And so I had some downtime. I decided that I was going to get into filmmaking. I had never done it before, and I've always wanted to do it. And it was something that at the time, I could pull off. And then I met Dylan Brown through a Facebook group. And from there, he kind of mentored me, and I directed my first film, Mothman. And then after Mothman, we kind of started meeting other people. And over time, we've sort of created this, it's more or less a think tank, really, rather than actively working on each film that we all have together. But Michael Rock, he is actually good friends and lives in the same area as Dylan Brown. So they've always worked together in the past. So it made sense to bring him along. Dustin Tamlin was another one that we met. And then Dylan actually introduced me to Matt, who has kind of pretty much been on every production I've done since I've met him. So we all just kind of work together when we can. If we can't, we kind of, bounce ideas off each other. But yeah, that's kind of the story of us.
That's pretty cool. Do you guys just mostly do with horror films, or you do kind of anything that comes to mind?
It's mostly horror right now, and we started with kind of found footage. If the listeners are familiar with movies like Blair Witch Project, or what's another one? Cloverfield was another big one. Certainly not in the budget range of even those movies, but yeah, these are things that we make And actually, Michael Rock just released a movie called The Murder of a Monster, and that's actually, I would say it's not horror, it's more drama and psychological than anything else. But yeah, we primarily make horror movies.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Are your wives involved in this stuff? I know Matt's was at one point. Is your wife or involved?
I've tried. I know that in Hunter's wife, Davina, she's been a big part of a lot of stuff. So right now it's just mostly Matt's wife and Hunter, Nino's wife. We did do kind of like a found footage TV series called Midnight Feature, and we each kind of directed an episode of that. And actually, Michael Rock's wife, Jackie, directed an episode of that. So that was pretty cool. And we were pretty excited about having to include that in the series. So, yeah, we'd like to get the horror moms involved a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting group to form. Since you guys got your dad deal, now they can do the moms group or whatever they can do.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. Oh man. So what kind of project you got going on now?
So I just wrapped up a movie called Untitled Footage, and that's all, kind of sent off for distribution and things like that. So we'll know more about that in the future. So, like right now, what I like to do is that once I finish a project, I like to at least start pre-production on something, so that I feel like I'm always working, which might sound crazy to some people, but it makes it's easier for me to have like a busy mind.
Right.
But right now, I'm actually working on, it'll be my fifth feature-length found footage horror film, and it's called The Fairfield County Four. And basically, it's going to be styled in the way of like a true crime documentary / found footage. So it all kind of falls into the same subgenre of found footage, mockumentary, POV, screen life horror type situations like that, or subgenres like that. So it's basically going to follow 4 individuals who kind of run
Good,
like a YouTube channel.
good movie to watch. Watch it. Yeah.
What was that?
How can we get in touch with all your movies?
Yeah, so actually we have a website that's actually up. It's just horrordadsproductions.com. Anybody can check it out. Anybody can visit our socials. We're just Horror Dads Productions on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. The best place to get the links to view any of our movies would be our website. They link either to Amazon pages, Tubi pages. Right now we've got a couple films that are available to watch on Found TV, which is actually exclusively found footage in POV style movies. And that just released October 1st. So we've got a bunch of titles on there.
Okay.
And yeah, that's basically it.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Dads, was it DADZ or was it the S?
Yep. It's a DADZ.
That's what I thought when I saw it. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that one before everybody
Yes.
puts
Yep.
an S at the end. Um, okay. So, when you were growing up, did you always want to do film, or how did that transpire into your adulthood?
I've always wanted to have some part in it.
Okay.
I think that started mostly when I was maybe in my late teens, early 20s, when I was going to college. But I've always had a love for horror movies, and just film in general. I don't know what it is. It's always just been something that's interested me. I've always been a kid that I would rather sit and watch horror movies over, cartoons. Maybe it's a little bit of my parents' fault for letting me do so. I really don't blame them. It makes it a little bit easier when you kind of give in to temptation when it comes to that kind of stuff. When, that's my kids, they enjoy watching stuff like that too. So I can't deny them that. But yeah, it basically started when I started to realize how easy it could be, or not easy, it could be, but how obtainable it was to be able to kind of, you know, start a ground roots or grassroots movement and just kind of put together a team and try to make something. That's one thing I've always tried to do with my films is bring a little bit of quality to the project itself, because I don't want it. I know sometimes found footage can kind of fall into that category of maybe looking too cheap or looking too cheesy, but it just took, you know, a little bit of time. And like I said, I was mentored a little bit by other found footage directors, and that kind of really got me to a place where I felt comfortable enough to tackle that. You know, a few years ago, I'll say maybe about 6 years ago, I tried to make like a short film. But, you know, at that time in my life, I wasn't really, you know, well enough to maybe kind of pull something like that off. But I'm grateful that I'm in a place now where I can, you know, kind of do the things I love. And one thing about Horror Dads Productions is we all still work full-time jobs. We all have dads, or we all have children. We're all active fathers in our children's lives. But we still find the time to, you know, create and, you know, kind of work on the things that we love to do, because if we're not happy, you know, it's going to, you know, kind of come out in the rest of our lives and things like that. So I think that if I'm not speaking for the rest of the Horror Dads, we kind of do this a little bit, you know, cathartically, and it helps us be better people, I feel like.
Oh yeah, and you know, and I can imagine that it's like a support group for you guys too.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. we do chat about, we're not only chatting about movies. Sometimes we're like, man, can you imagine what my kid just did today?
Yeah, parents do need that support.
Yeah,
Especially
for sure. That is for sure.
yeah, like you said, you had 4 kids. That's enough right there. Like,
Yeah, it is it is a handful.
yeah. Actually, honestly, I admired that you guys formed that though. Um, a lot of people need to do more, and it doesn't have to be in the production you like to do, and being able to talk
Hmm.
stuff out, help each other out, whatever which ways, and be best friends at that point, you know. It
Oh yeah,
it
and I feel like
works.
we've really kind of gotten to that point where we're, you know, able to even talk about some personal stuff, things like that. So
Yeah.
they really are my best friends. So
Yeah. I'm gonna have to have them all of you guys on here one time. Just
that'd be fun. I believe we've only been able to pull that off once, and I
really?
believe that was on with I think we were on an episode of Matt's show that he does,
Oh,
and this
well,
was
okay, so
prior to him joining.
that's cheating. Matt's part of the group, man.
Now he is. Afterwards we were like, all right, fine, he can join. He
Oh
is
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I love it. Oh man. I mean, so how do your parents take this? Are they like excited for all your stuff,
Oh
or
yeah,
what?
my I would say my mom mostly is a big supporter of all this, and I feel like she understands kind of where I'm coming from, just because she was there when I was younger, and I've always talked to her about doing things, you know, like this when I was a young
Mhm.
adult, and it just never really panned out. But once I really, you know, kind of dedicated the time to it and really started making it work, and she's been able to um, kind of see what I've created, I know that they're pretty proud of me. She's particularly pretty proud of me. I've ran a couple of Indiegogo campaigns, and my sweet mother's always kind of donated when she could, so that was always appreciated.
That's pretty cool. Not many parents do that though,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
she's pretty spectacular. More parents should, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, it really does create a good the trauma does not come in effect at that point in time. They know they are safe and they're loved, and they can,
Hmm.
with the kids, it just, we don't want that trauma in our kids these days at all.
Right. Right.
And making them feel like they can achieve whatever they want to achieve, even if it's something we don't agree with. Like,
No, exactly. Yeah.
but it's a
No, I'm
stepping,
here with you.
yeah, it's a stepping stool. That's what I learned. It's a stepping stool, because eventually they'll move out of whatever it is that we don't agree with. And like,
Of
oh,
course.
I can take what
No.
I got trained for, on that, because there's a lot of good gems
Yeah.
and the whatever, and then they can put it over there. So it's like, okay, well, you do you. I love you. I'll pray for you. Come on. But yeah, oh gosh. And mine's like 19 and 15.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I have a 6-year-old. I have a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, and then a 16-year-old who's going to be 17 in March.
Oh, okay. So you got teenager. Oh boy.
Oh yeah. And the youngest is a boy, which is the hardest.
I thought they were the easiest though. Uh,
Oh, my girls are easier.
how did you manage that? Not many parents get that. That's a blessing. Like,
I know. Well, I mean, the 12-year-old is not so easy now, but
just wait till.
she likes to argue a lot.
So your 16-year-old, that's a girl?
Now, I have a 16-year-old son named Zach. My
Oh,
12-year-old
sorry.
daughter is named Aubrey. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll ask the question when she turns 16.
Sounds good.
When you say that, the boy was harder, yep, okay. We'll come back to that because that makes sense that you still have a little baby. But just wait. Just wait.
Yeah. I know it's coming. I know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just give her to your wife. I'm telling you, just give her to your wife. Just let it go. Like, when that time comes, she'll know what to do. Like, oh man. So are they part of all of this stuff too? Or do they just have their own lives?
I've kind of included them a little bit here or there. There's a couple movies where, their pictures kind of pop up from time to time because they kind of give them something to see and to know that, I kind of want to have them involved. They're a little young, so I don't expect too much out of them. And, they're teenage, one's a teen and two others are approaching. And my 6-year-old thinks it's pretty cool, but I don't know if he really understands a whole lot about what I'm doing. But
You say, hang out with dad.
yeah. The two girls think it's pretty cool though. Right now my 16-year-old is he's into cars and football, so that's his niche.
Cars and football. A typical boy. All right.
A typical boy, yep.
The typical boy. Ah, yeah. So how's everything out in your cities and all that? Your town? Like,
How so?
like right now, are you guys in snow or anything like that? Or what's what's going
Oh
on?
no. Well, I'm in central Illinois, which the cornfields are coming down, so everybody's sick. Usually allergies usually sweep through the house and then those turn into sinus infections. But we just started getting the first frost of the year. So it's October in Illinois where you've got freezing mornings, 70-degree weather in the afternoons, and then 50s in the evening. So it's always fun.
That's summer weather for us.
Is it?
You're calling that freezing, and I'm like, look, give me back the 50s and the 70s. We're in our
Oh no,
30s.
I prefer this kind of weather. It's like the rest of my household hates it. I've been trying to like guard our thermostat. I'm like,
Oh no.
no, you're getting blankets. Start using blankets. I don't want to turn the heat on just yet this year.
Oh no. You're one of those. My ex-stepdad, he did that and he put a screw in the
Oh,
thermostat. And it was
really?
60. Yeah, it was a 60 degrees. And I was like, I don't get it. Why is 60 everybody's favorite spot? Because it's freezing cold. Like no matter what. Like he put a
See,
screw.
I'm more of a 70
Oh,
person.
yeah,
I like
7 makes
I
sense.
like 70 in the winter and I like 70 in the summer.
Yeah, that makes sense, but I don't understand 60. 60 and 65. Everybody's like, oh, that's hot. No, it's not. Like, that's
Oh,
literally you dip your toe in ice water. Thank you very much. Like,
pretty much, yeah.
and it never gets warm. Like, even if you put a coat on and all that stuff. No, stop it. That should not even be in the thermostat. Man. Oh, yeah. I get the one that's broken over here. But it works. It just I don't know what it's on though. That's my
Yeah,
problem.
you can't tell what's set up.
Shoot. Illinois. I drove through Illinois. I haven't been into Illinois to check that out. What's the best places out there?
In Illinois, we've got Chicago. So
Besides
that's
Chicago.
pretty much it. That's really it. We've got Springfield, our capital, um, but it's more of just kind of a local tourist destination. I don't know how many people are clamoring to see the cabin of Abraham Lincoln or anything, but there's some we've got some really cool state parks, Chase State Park, and then I think out to the east a little bit we've got like Turkey Run, and it's super populated up north. And I try to stay away from there as much as possible. I like it kind of where I'm at, a little quiet, still in range of shopping, so I don't have to totally live out in sticks. But I think the town I live in now has got a population of about 5,000, which is kind of on the smaller end.
Yeah, that is small. Huh.
Yeah,
Wow. That is
it takes
that's
forever to get anywhere.
10 miles to the
That's why
store.
it's always fun. It's why it's always fun to like have conversations with people from cities because I had a conversation with somebody for one of my old productions that I was doing, one of my former movies, and I was like, oh, they're only like 10 minutes away from the airport where they live. And that was like an abomination to them. They didn't even want to know about it because that was way too much traveling in the city. I'm like, I got to drive 40 miles to get anywhere. It's kind of like a disconnect. And it was kind of difficult for me to kind of relate, but kind of got it a little bit after having a few conversations with people. Like 10 miles of traffic could also turn into 2 hours of not moving. So I
Oh,
totally understand it now.
yep. We get that out here too. I did
Yeah.
well the Seward Highway is one of the most dangerous highways, right? So my first time this year, when I say I don't want to do the Seward Highway, then that means there's something seriously wrong, right? Because that's my
Yeah.
favorite in the world to drive down and experience life, right? So
Mhm.
I 11 days after my neck surgery this year, I went to the conservation center, had my grand old time, did my little TikTok on it or whatever, and and healing, whatever, and stuff like that, right? I come back and I'm
Mhm.
only an hour away from my house, just an hour. And it's not that far. Like it's just a straight shot down the ocean and bam, we're good. So I
Mhm.
passed by, I'm on 13% of battery, which I'm like, okay, well, I've got this is the day I decided not to bring my charger. Like, and I'm on 2 lines of gas and I passed by the gas station. I was like, I'm only down the street. Nope.
Mhm.
Got stuck on the highway for 4 hours.
Oh no.
Uh yeah, and it was a 7 hour ordeal. They already were on the hour situation, already in 3. So we were stopped, literally stopped. And then after that, everybody decided to have issues, driving and being stuck on the highway closed on both ways. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So, yep, nope, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. That's why I kind of like to remain kind of what I'm doing, living this small town kind of life.
Yeah, it's better though, honestly. Like, I believe it's better. I don't like town. I don't like being in where buildings are everywhere on a beautiful area.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you.
But I do like to go to the grocery store. You know what I mean? That ease and comfort if I don't feel like getting out of my chair for a minute or for 10 hours a day. Okay, I'll DoorDash it though, but somebody else can do it. Let the younger people do it for me. Like,
Yeah,
but
in my there are times where I do like to kind of get out. My day to day can be kind of monotonous. I work in a medical records department for a hospital.
oh, fun.
So and it's a small hospital. We only have about 15 inpatient beds, and we probably service about 100 people a day between our ER, prompt care, and our outpatient services. So, but about 90% of my job is stuck sitting at a computer desk.
Oh, wow. I can see why you want to do movies.
Yeah, it kind of gets me out.
So,
Gets me out.
so does that working in the hospital and hearing different stories, does that inspire some of your movies or some of your
I
ideas?
have come across some very horrific things. I have yet to kind of draw upon them yet, but the hospital is certainly ripe for body horror type horror stuff. That is for sure.
That would, oh, maybe you could do one about being a medical, the main character being the, uh, in a horror form.
Yeah, I kind of did. A couple of years ago, I wrote a collection of short horror stories. Um, and one of those stories was called The Late Shift, and it was about an ER doctor in a rural hospital, and that a patient gets brought in, and the patient ends up, kind of turning into a werewolf. And that, it kind of probably started my fascination with wanting to do something with werewolves, with me now working on my 5th film, which is about a werewolf. So it all kind of ties together there.
Okay, so you got a werewolf, and what else do you have?
As far as films or stories?
Well, your films that you did and, the stories, what kind of characters do you have?
Sure, yeah. For my movies, my first one is Mothman, so that's pretty self-explanatory.
Oh, you got a
Um,
tiger for that?
we for Woodman, I've always been fascinated with the idea that feral people kind of live in national parks all over the United States. So that kind of I don't know if you're familiar with like Missing 411 and David Paulides and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
kind of drew some inspiration from that gentleman and some of the work that he's done and some of the books that he's written. And one of my characters in The Woodman was modeled, kind of looks wise off of Paulides too. So that was kind of fun. I did the Horde ads together. Just me and Dylan Brown. Each directed about a 45-minute movie, and we included that in a double feature called Split Screen. And Dylan Dylan lives out in Nevada, so aliens are a hot topic out there. So he worked on a film called Grays, which is about aliens. And then I did one called the Illinois Valley Murder Tapes, which is basically about a couple podcasters who come across some snuff type films, if you will. But they believe that the serial killer kind of existed in the area and is responsible for some of the disappearances that they kind of investigate throughout the movie. And then Untitled Footage actually is a sequel to that, the movie that I just put out recently, which kind of follows some other characters kind of related to the original story. And they're kind of tracking down and picking up the torch, carrying the torch for the previous characters, and kind of learning a little bit more about the serial killer. And we get pretty bloody in it, so I'm excited about that. Then obviously the film that I'm working on now, the Fairfield County 4, is Werewolves, and I'm super stoked about doing that because I've always wanted to do kind of a found footage werewolf movie, and there's not too many out there. So I feel like it's perfect, kind of, something that's calling my name. I feel drawn to it. For that short story collection that I did, like I said, I brought up that the Late Shift. I did that. I was pretty excited. I wrote a short story for that collection that kind of spoke in the first person. And it was actually, like a teenager who gets caught up in like a zombie apocalypse. And most of the book, or most of the story, kind of exists in his head as after he's been bit, and he can kind of feel the virus taking him over. And then eventually what's left of him inside of his own mind after the virus is completely taking control of all of his motor functions. So that was really fun to, kind of imagine what would kind of go on inside. And then if there is anything left of the actual person afterwards or not. So those are kind of some cool themes that I tackled there. And I think another one that I really enjoyed was called The Trawler, which was about, it took place out on the East Coast in a small fishing town, where some police find a trawler just kind of floating in the bay real late at night. So they kind of board it, and they kind of realize that the crew is all gone, except for in their hull, instead of, fish, they find kind of like a waterlogged casket. So it's basically they brought up kind of like Dracula almost. They brought up a coffin that contained a vampire. So that was fun.
Oh, okay. So how do you come up with these ideas? Do they just come through, or you just do research, or just how do you come up with these kind of ideas?
There's scenarios that I think on. If I'm feeling creative and I kind of want to, expel that out of my system, if you will, I'll dedicate time to just sit and personally think about it. And, I might get inspiration from really anything, some inspiration from a television show I'm watching or a movie I'm watching, to something I'm doing around the house, or, they kind of just come to me, and then I flush the ideas out over time. Maybe abandon certain aspects that might seem silly later on, or kind of go back and recreate something that I had previously abandoned. But that's why I extensively journal everything that I do on my phone, because I never want to lose an idea. So if there's anything that comes to my mind, I try to jot it down.
Yeah. Have you ever done the voice recorders on the phone?
As in part of my film?
Well, no. Like, instead of writing it down, just putting it, and then that way,
using voice memos?
yeah, like just keeping it on the voice, and then you can just dictate later, but you have every word that you want, and it's so much easier than just writing it literally. Like, especially
I
when
should
you're,
probably do that.
yeah, I found that a
I
lot
should probably do
easier,
that.
because then you don't get
Yeah, that makes sense. I ended up actually voice chatting a lot in my Facebook Messenger group, so I guess that would make sense if I would start doing that.
yeah. And then Glean, um, Glean. It's been helping me with
Okay.
my college courses, but it's a, like, say if you guys do a Zoom, or if even if you're out there with each other or whatever, or on a phone call, you can record everything and it dictates what you say, like later.
Oh, it does it for you.
But
That's cool.
oh yeah, I was like, oh snap, all right, wait a minute. Like, and like, and you can like on the computer itself, you put up the Glean, and then you could put in like little notes and stuff like that, and it'll click in right where that note is and all that stuff.
Oh,
And
okay.
you know, you take the pictures and it'll put them in there in that personal like thing. So it's a
Oh, okay.
very good thing to have. And then it'll record the Zoom conversation, like video and all, um,
Really?
into, yeah, and it's pretty cool. My school introduced me to that, and I said, "Oh, oh, oh." Or even those pens that record um while you're writing, it'll record the whatever you're talking about, and then you know, when you're writing, it'll um when you put the pen on the paper, it'll go from where you left off at.
I gotcha.
So
That sounds very helpful.
yeah, and I think that'll help so you don't get blocked on your thought, like, oh wait. But you could just ramble on and be like, oh, you just have to sit there.
Sometimes my notes do look like the writings of a madman.
Yeah. I think with you, it might be better to voice record and then be like, okay, I'm just going to pick out whatever that was, and then I'll leave that there. Like, you know, and you can just ramble on all you want and have fun. Like, as long as you can stand
True,
just
true.
being your own self. But yeah, that, I mean, if it helps, it helps. But I just given a little bit, you're the director and all that stuff.
Hmm.
uh have you found, would you rather be in front of the camera or behind the camera?
Oh, behind the camera. Yeah. Yeah, we've got a couple horror dads that like to do both. I'm more of a behind the camera guy. I've done a few things for some friends to kind of help them out in their movies and, give them a couple characters here or there, but um I feel much better creatively bringing the entire process together rather than sort of conveying that character on screen. I've never I know a lot of found footage directors, do that from time to time,
Mhm.
especially at my level, my peers, you know, um, they have the tendency to sometimes do that. But Dylan Brown, he does it. And I think he enjoys it. But that's not something I really want to tackle just yet.
Or ever, right?
Forever. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't
You
know.
sound
Maybe I might get the inkling to do it, or if I'm wanting to do a project that maybe I can kind of pull off as like a one man army if I have the story for it and it works, and it saves me from having to rely on a cast, and I can be my own crew. That's the great thing about our genre too is we so my films, we don't really have like a real huge extensive crew. I generally don't run with any lighting crews. A lot of it is either organic lighting or with a flashlight or a lantern or something along those lines. And sound is usually just right on the camera itself, so we don't have to worry about a sound crew.
wait, so
It makes it pretty easy.
you don't have a boom and all that stuff, or
No, we don't use one. At least I haven't yet.
oh wow.
Yeah,
So
so typically we've got like some equipment I use a Rode on my camera, and the range is pretty decent on it. Now it does in post production can be kind of problematic when it comes to cleaning up certain aspects of audio, but us horror dads, we do all our own post production work as well, so we kind of understand what we're capturing and the limitations that we have when it comes to editing, and kind of work within the parameters the equipment that we have. So.
Okay. So if I ran with my 7D Mark II, just that to go
Mm-hmm.
shoot outside, because if I wanted to do like a nature video, that's all I would need, really,
Mm-hmm.
is that.
Yeah, I mean, I shot Illinois Valley murder tapes and untitled footage with I used my Nikon Z30 with a Viltrox 24 millimeter lens, a Rode microphone, and that's it.
Huh. Okay. And what do you call it? Oh, I hate them. The tripods. Like,
Yeah. I've got some decent tripods. I do have some lighting and stuff for more stationary shots, if you will. If I'm like doing something that I want to imitate, something like an interview between characters on film, I can kind of quickly set up something that can, give the picture a little bit more depth and moodiness, if you will. But yeah, I typically don't run with extra crew like that. So, any hands that we have extra generally just help the production. They help us set up the scenes. They help us, ferry people around from place to place. When I shot Mothman, I shot Woodman. We shot Mothman in Hocking Hills. It's a state park in Ohio. So it involved a lot of driving around, a lot of moving around. And we shot Woodman down in Georgia, which was on the bottom there of the Appalachian Mountain chain there. So many times we'd be on the top of a mountain and we'd have to come back down and move around. And so it's helped carry equipment if we have any equipment that needs help carrying, or kind of keeping the production, kind of running smoothly, because we don't want too much standing around and talking, but.
right. Get it done and over with.
Yep.
Wow. For anybody who is up and coming, do you have any advice or anything that you don't want to gatekeep to help others be inspired and learn and grow?
Oh yeah, I
Tidbits.
would never, really gatekeep anything. I think being transparent and open and honest about filmmaking itself, some of the challenges and the hurdles. First of all, like I would, absolutely recommend that everybody chase their dreams, but also take the time to learn, be moldable, be somebody who's open to change, because a lot of the times you're going to find that things might not work. I've ran 2 productions and we've had to change things on the fly, and just being okay with that and being cool and rolling with the punches, and, staying cool, calm, and collected at those times is what's important as a director, if you're going to direct. And just because something sounds easy doesn't mean that it is going to be easy. Because filmmaking is not easy. as easy as it, we kind of made it sound just a little bit ago, picking up a camera and rolling, but a lot of it is carefully planned. A lot of it takes cooperation and coordination, between multiple people in order to pull it off. There was a time where I went to go film a scene because I kind of weekend warriored untitled footage on my downtime outside of work and things like that. And we coordinated a shoot, and we had a call time, and somebody didn't show up. And we had people coming from Ohio and Indiana coming to meet us that night. So it kind of put a burden on everything, and it kind of, gets you a little bit upset, but, we worked our way through it, and we kind of figured out a way to work around some of those things and kind of make it work. So
Right.
a lot of it is just kind of taking it as you go. And, one thing I learned also too is not to get too extravagant maybe with some of your storytelling. Kind of work with what you have. Like for instance, if I've used my attic a few times for my films, mostly because it's weird and creepy. So, I can work on that. I can work within, a story that might exist in a setting that would include my own attic. But if I was to write a story that would involve maybe a warehouse or like an office building, and I don't have access to an office building, I mean, a lot of the times you'll find that your stories at its core can be kind of molded. So just kind of work with what you have. It makes it a lot easier than trying to like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do if I can't get somebody to let me use their property to film. You don't want that to kind of hinder the production in any way, or kind of put you out in a sour mood about everything. So just kind of work with what you have too is another thing that I would suggest.
Okay. Now, what would be a good script length for a movie? Like paper
So mine
wise.
are interesting. I know industry standards is about a page a minute. So if you're going to shoot a movie, that's an hour and 30 minutes long, you'll want like a 90-page script. But I'll be honest with you. I've shot 2 features off of 20-page scripts, and that's mostly because my actors and actresses have all improv'd their lines. So what my scripts generally look like, they look more like very detailed outlines, so that it kind of gives dialogue direction. It gives kind of where I want the camera to be placed, or kind of what shots that I'm going to include in those particular scenes. And it kind of carries like the meat of the story. But I also like to give my actors and actresses the opportunity to kind of create this character themselves, even though it's a character that I kind of formulated in my brain. I want them to bring it to life. So that's one thing I've enjoyed doing on my past couple movies that I've done, is just kind of let them take the scenes, because they kind of know where the scene's at. They know where the scene ends, and they know where it begins, and they know where it ends, and what I ultimately want accomplished within those scenes. And thankfully, I've worked with actors that are very comfortable in those situations. So it's worked out well for me as far as working with scripts like that, more of like an outline. But I will say that there is really no specific rule as far as that goes. I think industry standards is anything over 45 minutes is technically considered a feature film. I like to shoot for anywhere between an hour and 10 minutes and an hour and 20 minutes for a feature film, because most, in the court of public opinion, the found footage films that do the best are within about an hour and 10, an hour and 20. Hour and 15 is like your sweet spot. You don't overstay too long. And I know sometimes like the found footage style of filming can be kind of grating on an audience member, especially if there's a lot of movement going on. So you don't want to like just leave your audience completely confused as to what's going on, or kind of, motion sickness.
Right. I gotta be in the first 3 minutes. Like that's when I stay,
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, is there anything else that you have for the people?
No, just I would ask everyone to kind of check us out and see what we're about. We've got I think about 15 movies out there now between all of us, and a television show. So that's something to for us to be certainly proud of. We put in a lot of hard work, and we are thankful for the fans that we do have, and we're always looking for more. And one thing that we like to do is we remain very accessible.
Be checking your stuff
A
out for
lot
sure.
Yeah, I think, even my own story with Dylan helping me, and then there've been other filmmakers that I've helped as well, and that we just can support each other and continue to grow ourselves in that. I know I've learned a lot mentoring others, and so has Dylan. I really can't speak for anybody else, but it helps everybody become better, honestly. So we remain, super open to communication. People are free to hit me up on my socials if they have any questions or if they have any ideas. Sometimes, one thing that really helped me out was when I was, wanting to make a film, I crafted the story for Mothman, and I bounced it off of Dylan Brown, and I made some changes that he suggested, and maybe he helped point me in the direction of maybe better ideas as far as, working in film, because sometimes we have an idea, we want to do it, it just might not convey well on film, if that makes sense. So
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, we always try to help each other out and help others out too. So you can reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like I said, all of our movies and links to our movies are on our website, horrordadsproductions.com. And almost all of our movies are on Tubi, the app for like your Roku, your Samsungs, your phone devices, everywhere basically.
Yeah.
And a couple of them are Amazon Prime too, so you can find them on Amazon.
Okay. Yeah, I watch a lot of Amazon Prime, so, so I'll definitely look for them. But I really appreciate you coming on the show. And definitely we want you on more when your new movie's coming out and all kinds of other good
For
stuff.
sure.
And definitely with the other dads that are in there.
Definitely. Yeah. I'd
Yeah.
love to try to coordinate that with you.
Yeah, if you can coordinate that and get everybody on the same page, we're good. Just let me know a date.
Perfect.
Like that'd be great. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.